In our last video, we talked about how and that you should actually use the algorithm, play with the algorithm to grow on Instagram in 2020. And in this video, we're going to take it even a notch further, and I'll show you a proven system that you can follow basically to grow explosively on Instagram and to reach all your goals, and you're going to be super happy after that. So first of all, hit the subscribe button, and we're going to start with the intro. Welcome back, Dominators. My name is Dominic, if you didn't know that, and welcome back to this part 2 in this video series. And let's talk about something actionable, okay? I'm gonna be walking you through getting your first 10,000 followers. We're gonna be walking you through a system that actually works to grow you to at least 10,000 followers, to actually play with the algorithm, to make the algorithm your friend. Because, first of all, when has that been a bad thing? You're going to have another new friend, namely the Instagram algorithm. Second of all, great things start to happen once you become friends with the algorithm, because then you're going to see and you're going to notice, if you put these things into action that we're going to talk about today, that things are actually quite different than they might seem on Instagram. A lot of people have been stuck at a plateau and they're like, I don't know, nothing works anymore. I've always said that, we always talk about that. You probably just approach this whole thing the wrong way. So in this video, I'll show you exactly the right way to approach things and why, you're going to have a lot of opportunities on your hand once you get this thing going, once you have this new friend called the Instagram algorithm. And not only is that great for your fan base that actually grows in terms of numbers, you're actually going to have a lot of opportunities along the way. I'm talking about, first of all, monetization aspects, once you have a really good audience, and it doesn't have to be super big numbers. Just look at my numbers, for example. And yeah, I'm going to show you an example later of what you can do with way less numbers actually in terms of monetization. But also, just some great things, meeting great people. For example, I was invited to Formula 1 for a whole weekend, had the time of my life, met a lot of great new friends, Formula 1 people. And yeah, for example, this is just an example. Things that are going to happen if you grow with the algorithm as opposed to against it. And before you're like, come on, man, it's just another one of these videos that probably don't work, just stuff like this. Well, let me just randomly pull up my YouTube DMs, Instagram DMs, or YouTube. Let's just take the first thing that we have right here. And actually 2 hours ago, I got a message from Damien Scarlett. Shout out to the comment of the day. Apparently that's the thing right now. He's been saying, watching your videos for a few days, already making progress, blah, blah, blah. Yesterday, I've had a post that reach was 5 times higher than usual, and talk about the algorithm's that. Now let's get into it. And if you watched the last video that we talked about, you probably know already how important it actually is to give the algorithm the right kinds of data, because this whole thing thrives on data, and contrary to popular belief, as you can see right here, the whole thing is not really against you. You just have to feed this whole thing the right data. And as you might have heard in the last video, this whole thing is a beautiful back and forth between you, your audience, and the algorithm. And usually if things start to stop for you or things start to go downhill for you, it's mostly because you feed the algorithm either bad data or the wrong kinds of data. For example, being in DM groups or stuff like this, using bots or doing some weird shit. So to be able to understand which kinds of data you actually want to feed the algorithm, you have to understand what the algorithm looks for. And naturally, and you should know that if you watch all of my videos, because there's other videos where we also talk about this, these things, it's going to take a look at your audience. The first thing being your audience and the kinds of signals that you receive. They're going to take a look if these signals are high quality or not. Now, how do they behave with you? We talked about this. Now, how is it going to figure that out? Or how can you figure out what the algorithm is going to deem worthy as, being quality signals? Obviously, you're going to have to find out, first of all, yourself, who your audience is, who is your audience? Because that's a thing that a lot of people actually don't even know. And just some people, they're just like, okay, I'm just going to start creating content. And my audience is probably that, but probably is not enough here. And the algorithm's not going to be happy about that. Plus your audience, is not going to be happy about that, So really take your time and figure out who really is your audience. Who are you creating content for? And why is that? Figure that out. Really map out who your specific target audience is. Because if you don't know that yourself, how the hell is the algorithm's going to know that? It's only as good as the data that you feed it. And if you confuse it, which is what most people do, they just do confuse this whole poor boy. Yeah, then obviously it's not gonna find some people, because what it does all the time, it's trying to find a matching audience, find a audience for you. It always tries to do that, but because now this whole thing is more advanced than ever, you know, it has more data points, so it doesn't. Sometimes if it's confused, it just does not find people, you know, a lot of people, because it's just confused left and right. So step number one actually to this whole thing is, you know, define your audience. Define your audience, you know, really map this thing out. And once you've done that, you have to be clear about something that a lot of people tend to forget, you know, is basically that you're not just, you know, they're not just there for your selfies. You know, they don't care about your selfies or, you know, whatever you have to post. They mainly care about themselves. You know, everybody's selfish. It's just the way it is. But once you're aware of this whole thing, you're going to be able to cater content specifically that they're here for. You're going to be able to cater content specifically that they want to consume. So all of a sudden, the whole, you know, pages, the whole script is kind of flipped in a way. And just by doing that, you're naturally going to start to grow, because just those few kind of tweaks, few of those minor tweaks, for example, in our last profile review, which by the way is going to happen Thursday again, which is probably tomorrow. Some people wrote me after I reviewed them. And just by doing some of these small tweaks, they were able to totally flip the script and make their accounts grow again. So be aware of that. Next thing you're gonna have to be aware of is that the quality of your audience obviously is super. So it does work. Why? Nobody knows. The quality of your audience in general. Quality of audience is super important. Okay? You really have to be aware of that. The whole algorithm tracks that. A follower does not equal a follower. You know, it's two different kinds of pairs of shoes. Follower. You know, it's two different kinds of pair of shoes, because, you know, just a random person, you know, it's, you know, for example, there's these random followers, as you can see right here, with a nice hat and a nice earrings, yeah, whatever. There's somebody who's worth nothing, you know, but then there's somebody with some nice mullet and a mustache and a tiger who might be worth a lot, you know, to you. So be aware of that. And if you don't define your audience, and here's the thing, when you define your audience, you have to know exactly who the high quality follower is and who the low quality follower is, and you want to specifically cater to the high quality follower. And an example that I want to give you here, and it's an example that I have a case study inside my upcoming program called the Black File coming up, which is basically how I was able to generate almost $16,000 just from a very small audience and just from 34 clicks on my Instagram. You know, just think about that. How was it possible? Obviously because they were high quality followers, because my content was catered specifically to their needs. And everything was aligned. And yeah, you know, as you can see right here, if you don't believe me, this is a funnel. It's actually 34 different people in here, unique people, which is nothing. Let me just refresh this here another time, you know, if you want to see that. Obviously this is what happened, and this is the power of why growing a brand with real followers can be a lot more valuable than just growing a brand with you know, thousands, tens of thousands of followers who are not worth anything to you, because they're just random and all over the place. You know, hint, this one girl who couldn't sell her t-shirts, for example. So how can you actually you know, get these quality followers? You know, first of all, through branding. So their whole branding things, branding, niching down, and perceiving to be, you know, kind of perceiving to be on the same level, kind of perceiving to be professional for your audience. You know, don't just appear like you're just a random person creating content. You know, create content with a purpose, create content exactly with your audience in mind. You know, brand yourself in the way that makes you stand out, brand yourself in the way that makes people be interested in whatever you do, and you're gonna see all of a sudden the followers that you're attracting might initially maybe even be a little bit less than usual, but the quality is just a lot higher, and you're gonna be able to make money from those followers. And a lot of it, as you can see in my example right here. This whole branding thing actually makes people want to follow you. It's kind of flipping this whole script. And if you think about that, think about DM groups, kind of create your own DM group. If you have a brand, if you have built a follower base, and let's just say you just have 500 followers, okay, initially. You've grinded yourself up to 500 followers, but they are actually, super brought into you. And you're going to tell them, with a call to action, which is number 4 here. Brand yourself, put call to actions in there. Tell them that they should follow you. Tell them what they should do. I know it's like, especially nowadays in these weird days outside there, you see that a lot of people are cuckoo inside their minds, crazy the coconut. And yeah, it just means tell everybody exactly what they should do. Otherwise, they're not going to do it. So put a call to action, everywhere in your content, and tell them they should follow you if they, want to get specific things out of you. And, let's just say you just have 500 people following you, and you tell them, whenever I post, come to my post and like this whole post thing. Guess if 20%, 30% of those people are going to do that. It's a huge... Anyway, there's a huge audience that comes to you, interacts with you, and kind of acts as an engagement group. So kind of flip the script, and I tell you how it is if you're still thinking about it. Don't go inside an engagement group. Only if you're gonna create your own one with your own tribe. Build your tribe, tell them what they should do. And some people are gonna do it, and this is better than nobody. And if it's just 10 people doing that initially, all these things are gonna go all the way back into the... Let me just make a nice drawing right here. Nice drawing right here into the algorithm machine. That's gonna slowly start turning and slowly start, upping the tornado for you, if you know what I mean. The more high quality signals, because that's essentially what it is, high quality signals that you're gonna, signify the algorithm, the more you're gonna receive, the faster it's going to happen that all of a sudden your reach is going to blow up. You're going to get suggested, which is why you should think about your content. Really, number 5 here, content. Content. Make sure it's optimized for these signals, whatever these signals are. Signals. Make them share stuff. Create shareable content. Create savable content, as saves are pretty hot stuff. Save us. Saves are pretty hot stuff. Saves are pretty hot stuff, in the whole Instagram world, if you watch my other video. And yeah, talking about, the signals, optimizing for the signals. Always have the signals in mind. And this is a super important thing. Always have the signals in mind, and always think about what is the main goal of Instagram, right? Like the main goal of Instagram is the same thing as the main goal of your audience. They just care for themselves. So Instagram mainly just cares for themselves, which means they just want to have people on their platform as long as it's possible. So think about your content in terms of getting signals, in terms of the putting some call to actions out there for people and stuff like that. Think about that to optimize and to maximize the interactions people have on your profile. And how are you going to do that? Obviously, there's a million ways to do that, but let me just give you one really important thing. For example, carousels. You're going to be like, what? What can I do with the carousel? Well, obviously, you have a carousel, a second carousel. You create posts with a lot of carousels, up to 9, 10. I believe 10 is the maximum that you could do. And if people swipe through and you actually give them, through telling some story or just to make it interesting through all the carousel posts, there's an action, there's an action, there's an action, there's an action. And all of a sudden, you're going to give the algorithm a lot of valuable social signals. You're going to make people stay on your profile for a lot longer, which, is all going to come back into this algorithm machine that slowly starts working for you more and more and faster than ever. Anyway, my friends, if you think this whole thing was interesting, we're going to talk a lot more in depth about all of these things for hours upon hours in my upcoming Instagram Black file. And basically, it's all of my knowledge combined, put into this program with basically everything you need to know of, starting to grow an Instagram, learning to really scale your Instagram, and also monetizing it at the end. So, here's the thing though, once this whole thing is going to drop next Monday, it's only going to be open for a couple of days until we close the doors, mainly to ensure some quality. We don't want to have this whole thing flooded with too many people in there, and, we don't want to get overwhelmed with all the people in there, so, be sure to hit that waiting list, to go on this waiting list, which is linked down below in the description. It's going to drop on Monday. And yeah, if you like this video, first of all, like this video. And second of all, in the next video, we're going to be talking about this whole roadmap a little bit even more in depth. I'm going to show you roadmap, how you can use the system to your specific needs. Plus, I'm going to show you an example on how you can actually make this work in terms of making money with this whole thing to actually get maybe a little bit of freedom. Yeah, as much as that's possible right now. Well, anyway, also tomorrow we're gonna, what's it called? Profile review tomorrow, 7 p.m. European time, okay? I'll see you tomorrow. I'm waiting for you. Drop your accounts down below, because I always take at least one person that I review beforehand to, show what's going on as the first person that I'm going to review. So I'll see you tomorrow. We're going to have people drop in live in our call, which is amazing. I can't wait for that, actually. My name is Dominic. I'll see you, and bye-bye.